Joe Rogan, when it comes to presidential politics, I believe is a coward. Now, those may sound like strong words, but I'm going to try to explain why here. On his show just yesterday, maybe not an official endorsement, but he had very strong words that certainly sounded like an endorsement to say about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
That's politics. They do it on the left. They do it on the right. They gaslight you. They manipulate you. They promote narratives. And the only one who's not doing that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
You a fan?
Yeah, I am a fan. Yeah, he's the only one that makes sense to me. He's the only one that he doesn't attack people. He attacks actions and ideas.
So while it may not be an official endorsement, Joe Rogan just said there, he's the only one that makes sense to me. Those are pretty strong words in support of RFK Jr. However, RFK Jr. is not going to win. He is polling just over 5% right now in the polling averages nationally. That is incredibly low with just about 3 months to go, just over 3 months to go before the election. 5%. The Libertarian candidate will pick up 2 or 3% usually. He's barely polling better than that candidate, which historically is just like a throwaway sort of protest type of vote. RFK Jr. at 5%. Now, this to me, though, is just the easy way out. I like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as well, but he's not going to win. It doesn't matter that Joe Rogan might get him to like 5.5% in the polling averages. The only other time I can remember Joe Rogan giving such strong support for a political candidate was Bernie Sanders. Now, at the time, his support for Bernie Sanders wasn't quite as sort of a throwaway endorsement because Bernie Sanders at the time had some chance of winning the Democratic nomination, but still, I believe it's still the safe play. I support Bernie, that you don't have to take a side in the actual front-running Democratic and front-running Republican candidates.
I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. Him as a human being, when I was hanging out with him, and
Yeah.
I believe in him. I like.
Now, why even make a video about this? Surely Joe Rogan, as a podcast host, is free to support RFK Jr. if he wants, Bernie Sanders, or even political candidates who are less well known, and I certainly believe in that. He's free to do whatever he wants in terms of supporting a political candidate. However, as a casual fan of Joe Rogan's show, and if you just watch Joe Rogan's show on a even somewhat regular basis, the show, whether or not he admits it or not, is very political. He has his take on pretty much every topical political issue that comes up, and he is the #1 show on earth. Usually when the charts come out, Joe Rogan's right at the top. Sometimes he's #2, but in general, over the last, say, 10 years, he's been #1 more than anybody else, and he talks about politics all the time. I believe because of this, it's disingenuous to just come out and say, I support RFK Jr. I believe in elections, and this is just like a fact, it's a binary choice. Just pick one. I respect Mark Cuban, at least for having a point of view and saying, hey, I support Kamala Harris. Like, to be honest, as a casual fan of Joe Rogan's show, I would have way more respect for him if he came out and gave some type of sales pitch for why Kamala Harris is the better candidate. Or give your take why you're going to support Donald Trump, because whether you like it or not, the choices are Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And with 3 months to go, I mean, I guess something major could change, but if Trump and Kamala Harris are polling about 40% and the closest person in third is at 5%, there are only two choices. So if you're Joe Rogan and you have a show, biggest show on earth, and you constantly complain and give your take on politics, for you to come out and say Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the only candidate that makes any sense, I think that just that sits wrong with me as a casual fan of the show. I suspect it does with a whole bunch of other people that watch Joe Rogan's show as well. And obviously, a lot of people will not be bothered by this, and that's fine as well. But to me, I think Joe Rogan should have the courage to take a side and say, hey, I'm going to vote for Trump or I'm going to vote for Harris, and these are the reasons why. Because I think the world needs more courage in terms of politics and not less. Way too many people for a long time just sit on their hands, don't want to offend anybody, want to fence sit. I don't think that's the right move. I would just, like I said, have way more respect if you just picked a side. So with that said, thank you for watching the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have a good day.